Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from our space. I caught my wife cheating on me with her coworker and going for a divorce. Let me start with some background. My wife and I are both 54, male and female, married 31 years. She is an RN at a hospital. I have worked for a home builder since I was 18. We have 2 children, both grown out of the house in their 20s. We decided in our mid-40s to pursue my wife's dream of running a bed and breakfast. We've been looking on and off for years. We came across a piece of property of 5 acres and a home built in the 1870s. The original owners were large landowners in this area. They had an extensive agricultural business empire. Over the decades, few of the family wanted to stand farming. Parcels of land were sold off. Our town is going through growing spurts, as it has become quite touristy because of some, let's say, natural formations and beauty. The farmland along the main highways is being gobbled up. The house and land we purchased is away from the highways. Since we bought it, my wife and I are redoing the entire house. There has been neglect and some basic maintenance, and we want to restore the house to its prominence 150 years ago, along with making a living. My wife has been in charge of decorating rooms as I finish along with paying for the mortgage. I am renovating room by room, paying for all material and any professional help, if needed. I am pretty handy, so most of the work is done by me. The last few years, the housing industry has gone to the roof. We would work 8 days a week if we could. I was pulling in big money until last year. The pandemic knocked us out of work for a while in 2020, then the material shortages started. Of course, my wife was on the front lines for the last 18 months. Last year, she worked weeks at the hospital without days off. The medical staff stayed at the hospital. They had rooms several slept in together. To say the least, the staff got very close. They worked 4 weeks on, 2 weeks off, starting in March last year and to the fall, then again after Thanksgiving. My wife is always, after the kids roll her, pork for others if they asked. She watched these young parents crying because they could not see their families. So, on their off times, she would give up her time off and offer it to the staff that really needed it. There were others that did this too. The whole COVID experience changed her. Watching people put on ventilators, to deaths, etc. She was not the same person. She was distant. Our sex life went to zero. I attributed it to either her experiences or her age. I tried talking about it, but was told she just didn't feel it anymore. We still worked closely on the house. We planned trips to an area in our state that had a large Amish population. The Amish here are known for the craftsmanship and were working in sewing. We bought several pieces of furniture for the bedrooms, along with handmade quilts. This past weekend, we were planning on taking a 3-day trip to this area to buy dining room furniture. I also pay and trade with some wood that I get when I take down an old barn, which I do as a side gig. Barn wood is very much in demand. My boss calls me and tells me everyone is working the whole week as he was able to get wood and shingles for a house we have been sitting on, waiting for supplies. I told the wife we could go on Saturday and Sunday. On Friday morning, she tells me she is still going with some workers because there is a fall festival going on. I went to a local bar that night. One of her coworkers came up to say hello. I asked if she was going on a trip. She knew nothing about it. So I texted the wife asking if she made it okay and asked who was all there with her. She texted back that this friend, her other close friend, and a friend called Stevie. I had heard this name the last few months. Until then, I always thought they were a female. I asked her friend at the bar if she knew Stevie. She said no, but there is a Steven that works with them. The wife gets back Sunday afternoon. She has bags of tablecloths, napkins, kitchen towels, etc. She was showing me what she bought. In one bag, there was a smaller bag. She pulled it out, looked in it, and said, "Oh, not this bag. It's not for us." I let it go. Later, I looked in the bag. She had hidden it in a closet. It was decorations for a man cave for a college team I don't follow in sports, so it wasn't for me. I asked to talk with her. I asked again who all went. She gave the same 3 people. I just asked who Stevie was because we had not met. She told me a woman they work with. I pulled out the man cave stuff and told her I talked to her friend, who was supposed to be away last weekend, but her plans blew up. Then I asked who Stevie was again. She started crying and told me who he was, and yes, they were by themselves. They had sex. They have been since last year, during her hospital lockdown. So now she is living in one of the finished bedrooms. I have our bedroom. I will talk to a lawyer on Monday. I have no idea what to do at the house, the business, the marriage. To me, she was sorry she was caught, but not for the affair. I asked her if she would break it off with Stevie. She was not sure. And now for some reactions. T2RN says, sell the business, divide assets appropriately through mediation lawyer. Definitely divorce. And here's why. She is not sorry. seems to have no regret other than getting caught. Second, she is unsure whether she can or wants to stop the affair. In cases like this, don't put your life at mercy of her uncertainty. Make that decision for yourself. Lastly, for someone to do this after 31 years is absolutely immoral. Bad enough when it is early in marriage, but after building a life together? Be selfish. Look out for yourself from here on out. Next up, competitive Rip 6498. Sorry to hear this happen to you. Get yourself some therapy because it's going to be a bumpy road. Get divorce talks going and set yourself up for stability. Wish I could say something about the business, but that's beyond my expertise. It'll be hard, but you'll come out stronger than you were. You deserve better than her. I hope you find someone new once you have come out on the other side. Next comments from OK Replacement 7697. As she does not want to cut with the affair partner, it is because she is sorry that you caught her and not the matter. What do your children think of all this? Has she told you if she wants to stay with you or not? Since she found out, how's she been acting? She accepts the blame and realizes how much damage she did to you? She does not stand that marriage as she stops giving him support in her things. I was lying to you for a whole year. When you tried to support her, she refused and decided to lean on someone else. You don't deserve to go through all this. I hope you keep updating. Lastly, stone cold advice. It's always nurses. I've read in a number of places that cheating is very common among nurses. Dude, I'm so sorry. You must be gutted. I'll never understand how some people can carry on affairs, completely betraying those they say they love. 31 years, man. Normally I would tell you leave her, and I still think you should, but that's a long time. I'm just about at 20 years married, and you have another 11 years on me. Only you know if you should leave or stay, but you know that your marriage will never be the same. She'd kill it. She stabbed your marriage and everything you built together in the heart. She did it with malice and actively lied to you all the time. 31 years is no joke, but she murdered your heart and soul. I would leave, but that's just me. Good luck, man, and reach out to me if you need. On to the next story. My wife cheated on me emotionally and planned to cheat on me physically to find out the guy isn't into her. About a month ago, I learned that my wife cheated on me, and now I just don't know how to feel. Last year, my wife, 20 female, was working at a job that I, 25 male, absolutely hated. She worked at an ice rink, and as someone that loves hockey, I was happy that I'd get to skate for free. Over the course of a few months, I went from a place that I didn't mind being to an hostile environment where I could tell everyone around me hated me, and I couldn't understand why. What I found out was that she was lying about me to her coworkers and framing me as a mentally abusive a-hole. At the time, we were fighting way too much, and we both said things we shouldn't have. In my opinion, nothing out of the ordinary for a couple during heated fights, but ridiculous considering we hadn't even been married for 6 months at that time. As she continued to spread lies about me, her coworkers started encouraging her to continue by telling her how in the right she was, that she deserved better, I wasn't good enough for her, etc. She admitted to me after the fact that the beanbag made her feel good, so this developed from venting about us fighting into her lying about me because she loved how their encouragement made her feel. She didn't care what she was doing to me, even when I told her that I could sense the tension when I was at her work. The looks I'd get, the changes in tone I'd notice in her coworkers in real time, it bothered me, and she didn't care. Christmas was coming up and her company was throwing a small party. Note that these idiots did this during COVID without masks and a small house. And my wife invited me to go. As the party got closer, the tension I mentioned earlier was also building, and I didn't exactly want to go. I know it would be a hostile environment, and I wasn't comfortable with it. I did ask her not to go, but she insisted to a strange degree. But she also didn't have many friends, so I assumed that was why. Even though my gut did tell me otherwise. All of this is not even mentioning that months earlier, which started most of the fighting to come, she joked to me that she was cheating on me at her work. That planted a seed in my head, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was conflicted about how mad I was, if she was actually joking or not, and was it even possible to do so? Technically, it was possible to do, but it was highly unlikely for whatever that's worth. Anyway, skip ahead to the day of the party, and about 40 minutes before we're about to leave, as she's doing her makeup, she decided to tell me that I shouldn't go. She mentioned that I didn't really want to go anyways, and that it wouldn't be a good idea because none of her coworkers liked me. Despite me knowing that, the fact that she went from trying to convince me to go with her to telling me to stay home was weird. Something seemed off, especially considering that she was oddly insistent that I don't go, even though I told her I'd suck it up for her. She kept trying to talk me out of going, and I gut feeling started acting up, and I told her that, given the circumstances, I wasn't comfortable with her going, and asked her not to go. She vehemently refused to entertain the idea because she wanted to do something for her for once. I found that to be manipulative because at the time, she was making almost nothing but selfish decisions after selfish decisions. She wasn't budging, so as per usual, I did. I TD her. We can go and drop off the cookies she made, chat for a few, and then we'd leave. When we got there, I refused to leave the car because I felt angry and on guard, and she took far too long in the house, clearly trying to go back on her deal. She even started a fight on the way home, saying that I was selfish and all the usual stuff. Skip ahead to a month ago, and we were driving to pick up pizza, and I just had a gut feeling. I pressed in a conversation, and it turned into her saying something that I don't remember now, but it made me bring back up that job. She was no longer employed there because she finally agreed to quit, and I said just how uncomfortable I was with an environment that was toxic to me, and that it was hurting our marriage. One thing led to another, and she revealed that not only did she stop loving me for about 6 or so months, this coming less than 6 months after getting married, so huge red flag. But the reason she was trying to convince me not to go to the party was because she wanted to cheat on me. There was one coworker, that I'll call Mike, that I never liked because that was the specific name she cited when she joked about cheating on me. Turns out that she had a crush on him, had stopped loving me and wanted to pursue him. She liked him because he was tall and cute and nice to her. She said that she wanted him physically and to keep me around, but if he wanted a relationship, she would have left me. She wanted to go to the party alone, to be as close to him as possible, and admitted that if he wanted her to, she would have blown him and kissed me when she got home, without brushing her teeth. The funny part of the story is that he had zero interest in her. She didn't find out until weeks after the party, but I couldn't help but bash that information over her head when she told me all of this. She treated me terribly, lied about me, manipulated me, planned to cheat on me, and physically hit me, all for a guy that wanted nothing to do with her. Note: yes, I 100% consider this cheating. She planned on cheating on me and engaged in actions to attempt to. The only reasons she didn't physically cheat was because, 1, I'm not stupid and didn't fall for it during the Christmas party, and 2, he didn't even want her. Also, the only reason this wasn't a 100% deal breaker is because it wasn't physical. I'm one of those idiots that thinks as long as you didn't go through with the action, there's still hope to redeem yourself. She even told me that when she realized he didn't want her, she went home to me and cried in my arms, telling me that she just had a long day. Seriously, I still can't believe that. She went on to say that she didn't start falling back in love with me until Mike gave her advice for our anniversary trip. It made her realize he didn't want her and just how bad of a person she was being to me. She realized that even though all of that, I still stood by her and loved her. I'm not entirely sure I believe that because she proceeded to treat me even worse since then and admitted she was never going to tell me. Over the last month, we've been fighting constantly and I just wanted to end. I've broken down multiple times telling her that all I wanted was my marriage. All I want is the woman I love, and I don't understand why I've had to live like this for over a year. Pretty much since 4 or so months after we got married, she's been terrible to me consistently. I'm miserable. I've wanted to just cry for a month, and I just can't. I can't feel anything when I think about it. I know I'm not attractive. She's made sure to let me know that over the last week especially. I know I'm not rich or anything like that, but I've loved her unconditionally, tried to push her to become a better person, and never given up on her. I don't know why that isn't enough, and I don't know why I can't feel anything anymore. I mean, I can feel other emotions like I'm excited about getting a hockey jersey, but my positive emotions just die after a little while, and I feel empty, numb. I can't feel anything. She's going to individual counseling and seems to show remorse and make efforts to try to fix this, but I'm at the point where I don't want another year of misery. I just want to go to work, go home, make my dumb videos, watch some movies, and spend time with my wife. I don't understand why my simple desires can't be met. I don't even know what good will come from posting this, but I do know that I want someone to, for once in my life, tell me everything is going to be okay. Time for the comments. Arsenal, followed by a bunch of numbers, says, if you stay with her after all she did to you, you deserve everything you get. She's trash and thinks you're ugly. Why even bother? Find someone that appreciates you. By the way, she's too young, and that's another reason why you shouldn't have married her. That and her horrible personality. The OP's response, that was my mistake entirely. She asked to marry me, and I told her that if she paid for everything as well as set it up, I'd do it. I guess I saw that action as showing me she was worth my time. I don't know how to fully describe it, but because she called my bluff, I agreed to marry early instead of having a 2-year engagement like I wanted initially. Passionate Traveler chimes in, she sounds like a complete bag of garbage. You are still young and have not any kids yet. You should let it go and move on. You deserve respect and love. A comment from Benzel McPrush. Assuming that this is not yet more creative writing, because the characters are just unbelievable and sound like they were lifted straight from a really, really bad literotica story. Next, Guy will not pass on the chance for free sex. And yes, there will be a next Guy, and 3 more after those ones, each worse than the last ones, because she knows now that there are no consequences to cheating. You will just pout for a bit and then forgive her. This hell you're in is self-imposed. You chose this. You know she is absolute garbage, and yet you are choosing to keep this person in your life. One can lead a horse to the water, but one can't force it to drink. We can't help you until you decide to help yourself by realizing that you deserve better than this. Seriously, is this fear of being alone? Because even a goldfish now would make a better life companion than this thing you call your wife. Final thought from Deloco6913. You are being deceived. She tried to monkey branch and the branch broke. Now suddenly you are the one, for where a few months ago you were not even the auction. Emotional affairs are the worst because she actively redirected her affection to another man and used your misery to fuel her decisions. This will service in the future, and she has shown you that she is capable of discarding you easily.